Channiwala sir, every engineering graduates from the state of Gujarat, or I think maybe from India, very well known introduction of the sir. It is not like that he or she never come across to the name of the sir. So I think sir is too big to give his introduction. He is a very popular personality of the state of Gujarat belonging to the engineering graduates. So today, sir will delivered on the topic next generation power plant using sustainable green energy solutions. That is the demand of the current era, that how can we make use of a modernized plant and to decrease the laden on the thermal fossil fuel based plant so as to make our planet towards greener. So, sir is a CSIR Bhatnagar Fellow and retired professor from the SVNIT Surat. Primarily, earlier it is known as the regional engineering colleges and very well known institutes from the state of Gujarat. Till IIT is not available to Gujarat, SVNIT is our IIT for the state people of the Gujarat. In his brief introduction, S.A. Channiwala sir retired from the post of professor as in mechanical engineering department, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel National Institute of Technology, Surat, it among the leading NITs and premier institutes of the India in September 2019. However, he is currently continuing his research activity as a holder of prestigious CSIR Bhatnagar Fellowship at SVNIT Surat till December 2023. He has obtained his master's and doctorate degrees from one of the India's most premier institute, IIT Bombay. His research area includes automobile, IC engine, combustion, gasification, waste to wealth project, and turbo machines. He holds a teaching and research experience more than 38 years and guided more than 21 PhD students and 103 MTech students and published more than 235 research articles in the reputed international journals as well as conferences. Sir has 15 patents credited to his work, and which among them 3 were international patents. He is actively involved in various sponsored research projects and high quality consultancy assignment, 2 of which are currently ongoing and more than 10 MOUs have been signed with the industries. He has been awarded Young Scientist Award twice and has total 8 awards to his credit. He has also served SVNIT in various capacities such as in charge director as well as professor in charge general administration. So we are very lucky that sir has provided us time for to appear before us for knowledge delivery regarding to the very relevant topic with the title of the FDP. So I request all the participants to take the full benefit of sir's lecture, as there are a very rare case that you might have available this kind of personality in a live session. So I Government Engineering College Dahod, I heartily welcome sir for to start the session. Dr. S.A. Channiwala sir.
Thank you, Jani, for such a beautiful introduction, right?
Now your PPT is available in full screen and your voice is clearly audible, sir. You can start.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible, sir, and PPT is also visible, sir.
Okay, fine. Right. Okay. So I welcome you all. Good afternoon to you all. This is my presentation on next generation power plant using sustainable green energy solutions. How I am going to deal with is that this is the contents. First, we will deal with overview of energy and emissions. Second, we will take up coal-based technologies with green energy solutions. And part 3 I have specifically made for you. There is a West to Wealth projects, a sustainable green energy revolutions I have given a name. And finally acknowledge and give you a message. So let us come to part 1, overview of energy.
Sir, your voice is not coming.
Sir, your voice is not audible. Please unmute yourself. But sir, make sir unmute if possible from your side.
We cannot unmute. Sir has to unmute himself, sir.
Okay, fine.
Okay, sir.
Yeah,
Yes,
Now
sir,
your voice is
now-
audible.
Now audible? Okay, fine. So, okay, fine. So anyway, so I will go back from slide 1. I have divided my presentation in 3 parts. First part, overview of energy and emissions. Second part, coal-based technologies with green energy solutions. And part 3 is specifically added for you is West to Wealth projects, a sustainable green energy solutions. And finally, I will give you a message. Part 1 is the overview of energy and emissions. So let us talk about that. So your energy is absolutely necessary for technological advancements. No element of doubt, right? What is the result? Fast depletion of fuel resource. And second is pollution, which is an associated evil. So what is the challenge before us? Continuation of technological advancement with no evil. Hence, we have to search for sustainable green energy solutions for a better tomorrow. Now I take you to some data. If you take a global scene, your energy consumption is 584 exajoules. Coal consumption is 158 exajoules. Electricity is 27,000 terawatt hours. Our luxury ratio, which I call it as vehicle to people ratio, is 1:6.75. Per capita is 75.7 gigajoules. CO2 emissions 34.17 gigatons. And GHG, that is your greenhouse gases, is 47.5 gigatons of CO2 equivalent. Now, if you look here, this is the primary energy consumption share. The fortunate part I will show you is the use of renewable is increasing. Somehow I don't know what is happening. Yeah. So this gives you the primary energy consumption share and is the electricity generation share. Across the globe, about electricity is generated through coal is 36%, and for other resources is given here in this pie chart. Now coming to the Indian scene, our consumption is 34.06 exajoules. Coal is 18.62 exajoules. Electricity we are producing is about 1600 terawatt hours. We are good enough. Vehicle to people ratio is 1:5.63. Per capita is 24.9 gigajoules. And GHG is 3.24 gigatons of CO2 equivalent. And here is your primary energy consumption profile. 55% of energy comes from the coal, and electricity, if you take, 73% energy comes from the coal. So what is the consequence of high rate of energy consumption. First is the energy crisis. The world petroleum resource may be depleted by the end of this century. The world coal resource may be depleted in next 2 centuries. So this is the data from BPS Statistical at the end of 2019, and we will be having 49.9 years only for oil. For natural gas also 49.8 years left out. And for coal it is 132 years. These are statistical data which is left with us. By exploration of new resources, this data will change, but as if now this is the data available with us. Second is, what is the consequence of pollution? First is global warming. If you look to the underdeveloped countries, the rise of temperature is 0.02 degrees centigrade per annum. And if you take a developed countries, it is 0.05 degrees centigrade per annum. Now, one report came by New York University. What it said, that New York will be flooded by sea in 30 to 60 years. Mumbai in 200 to 250 years, and Surat will see sea water flood in 250 to 300 years. That is the detrimental figures or the result of global warming. Second part, as per WHO, environmental pollution is responsible for 8 lakh deaths per annum and 4.8 million lost life years per annum. So this is the alarming situation. What this means? This means that we must search for feasible technological pathways towards sustainable green energy solutions. Now further, this solution must be adaptable to existing technologies and not imaginary. We should not talk in vague. Whatever solution we suggest, it must be adaptable with existing technologies. Then only we can search for sustainable green energy solutions. A fundamental requirement. Now, what we have seen is the majority of the power plant across the world and across the India, they use coal. So we talk about coal-based technologies with green energy solution. How we can make it more greener? That is the part which is of concern today for every scientist. That is a general layout. What is a general layout? There is a boiler. This is a pulverized fuel boiler. It supplies the high pressure steam to HP stage of turbine, then IP stage after reheating, and then LP stage, and the cycle repeats. This is a complete TS diagram of this particular power plant. In general, all major power plant, they use a 210 megawatt unit, and the condition is about 150 kg per cm square, 540 degrees centigrade is a limiting condition for all these power plant, including that of NTPC. So now look at it. We use coal and then we prepare coal. And this prepared coal that is in the form of pulverized fuel. It is fired into a boiler, which is a pulverized fuel fired boiler, and we produce the steam. The moment we fire this pulverized fuel in the boiler, what problems we face? Efficiency issues, higher stack loss, fly ash handling, higher CO2 emissions, higher particulate emissions, higher tube temperatures, higher erosion rate because of the particle, it will erode, and reduce boiler availability and life because of the erosions. These are the problems which we face at almost all power plants. Now we'll try to attack these problems first, and then we'll talk something else. Say, we want to improve the efficiency of our boiler. Then only we will get overall improvement in the efficiency of thermal power plant. So let us look this in a different manner. Eta B is output by input. Output is the energy content of the steam. Input is the fuel energy, m dot f into GCV at P equal to constant. Please do not make any mistake. I am writing very specifically GCV at P equal to constant because all power boilers, they operate at constant pressure combustion. So it is a fundamental requirement. Now, if I want to improve this simple equation you examine, the efficiency eta B, I want to improve it. What we can do? Eta B plus delta N is my increment. What I have to do? Increase m dot s. This part. We can improve efficiency. Second part, this HFW, sorry, HFG, whatever is required, that is in HS, HFW. So decrease HFG, that is go for supercritical, so that will decrease my m dot f. So this m dot f will decrease. Moment we enter into supercritical, where water is directly sublimes to steam. So no latent heat component comes into the picture. So this part. Third aspect, what I can think is simultaneously increase m dot s and decrease m dot f. So we can achieve much higher efficiency improvement. These are mathematics. Now in practical, how we can do it? I look at from another angle to the boiler efficiency. See, there is a combustion taking place. So there is an efficiency of combustion involved. Once the heat is generated, it is transferred to the water to convert it into steam. When this is transferred, I use the word eta HT, that is a heat transfer efficiency. So eta B is eta combustion into eta HT. Now when we transfer it, what resistance it encounters? There is a gas fill. Right, then there is a fouling, that is a square scaling, fouling resistance of the flue gas. Then there is a tube resistance. Then there is a water side scaling, and then there is a liquid fill. Now, if I can reduce any of these resistance, then eta HT will improve, and from the same heat transfer area, I will produce more m dot s. Similarly, if I use some catalyst for the same fuel, I will get eta combustion to be improved, and hence my overall boiler efficiency will improve. So this is the expression you must have learned in your heat transfer. If any of this resistance is reduced, my Q dot U, that is the useful output, will improve because your U0 will improve. So m dot s will improve, and that will give me a better efficiency. So I am targeting improvement of eta combustion and eta heat transfer. Right? Now we still go one step ahead. To achieve this, what I should do? Use advanced fuel additives. Advanced fuel additives has got catalytic effect, so your combustion efficiency will improve and m dot f will go down. Similarly, these fuel additives have got anti-fouling agents, so your surfaces will become more clean, your heat transfer will improve, and m dot s is improved. Apart from this, one beautiful aspect with this additive is it will decrease emission, so global warming will reduce. Similarly, it will reduce clinkering, so your boiler and maintenance will decrease and boiler availability will increase. Right? So in order to prove in reality, we designed one fuel additive in 1995, and we took a trial on Ukai thermal power station of 210 megawatt units. These are the data which we collected from the power plant. This is as per BS 2885 boiler efficiency test. This is the layout of a boiler at GEB Ukai. All radiant superheater, pendant superheaters, convective superheaters, and all economizer banks. And this is the effect which we got it. Say auxiliary power consumption without the use of additive was 111.56 megawatt per shift MWH per, with it has reduced by this. That means your fouling has definitely reduced. Boiler efficiency has increased from 80 to 83 to 85.64. Generation efficiency has improved from 39 to 40 to about 40.661%. And overall plant efficiency is improved from 36.59 to 37.56%. This means that there is a fuel saving at this plant load factor, only 65% I am considering is 19,621.1 tons per year. And your economic saving is 2.8 crore rupees. What is the dosage? Only 20 ppm of this particular additive, 95 SC. This was additive which was devised by me, and the technology was transferred to Altreat Chemicals. Then on plant emissions, say without NOx and CO SO2, these were the values. And with this has reduced by particulate 5.41, SO2 58.24, and NOx 18.33%. That means the additive works for improving the efficiency as well as reducing the emissions. And second was a Panandro thermal power plant which uses lignite as a fuel. Lignite is the most detrimental and very typical fuel to be handled. The chief engineer of Panandro, he called me, sir, we are facing a severe problem of clinkering. Large swellings were formed, and in order to crack those swellings, boiler was under shutdown for 6 months. He requested me that can you do something? Then I designed an additive and given a name as SAC. That is my name, it's a SCA. That was the name given to that particular additive. And then problems which they were facing was heavy clinkering in furnace, heavy fouling in resuction, and very high SO2 emissions because of high sulfur in lignite. So what I suggested was we developed another additive 95 SCA. You know, my name appears here indirectly, and dosage was 40 ppm, that means 40 gram per ton. What are the result? Say, when you take out gas from the boiler, it has large amount of unburned carbon. So without chemical, about 43% was unburned carbon. And with chemical, it has come down to about 33-34%. So there is a reduction in carbon content in bottom S. Then there is a reduction in spray water. That means that my tube has become, the transfer area of the tube has become much cleaner, as well as you can say here, the steam generation is also improved. So by steam, your spray water that is normally used to control the temperature of the superheated steam, the use of that reduced. That means some catalytic effect and anti-fouling effect is visualized. Without chemical, it was somewhere about 27 tons per hour, and with it is somewhere reduced to 18 tons per hour. So this is also a sizable benefit of this. Similarly, anti-fouling. Say anti-fouling, how you will judge? If there is an improvement in temperature of steam, that is a positive result because your tube has become more cleaner, so it transfer has become much faster. So here is this. Without chemical, it was about 4, you can say 467, and with chemical it goes down to 475. That is improvement in steam temperature. Similarly, if the resistance in the system reduces, your power has to reduce. So anti-fouling effects should give me a result in terms of power reduction in fans. So here is the fan power, 10 ampere. Without it was about 234, and with it has come down to about, you can say 207 amperes. So it has anti-fouling effect. Anti-emission, a sizable effect. You can see without chemical, it was about above 900 ppm. With it has come down to 490 ppm. So this is the effect on anti-emission. That is the effect of that 95 SCA. If I summarize here in this way, auxiliary consumption has reduced, you can say, by 3.21%. Boiler efficiency improved by 2.74%. Generation efficiency 2.51%. Not this figure. At Ukai it was 34. Here is 24 because lignite has a low calorific value and it is very typical high moisture. So that loss is much higher, stack loss. So this efficiency is less. SO2 23.78% and SPM is 30.92. So what is fuel saving? 13,788.5 tons per year is the saving of fuel. What observations we observed later on? So this is continuously working since May 97, 98 till now. It is now using that they are using this additive. And what benefit has been observed? There is a longer boiler availability, reduction in downtime time, reduction in oil consumption because once it is down, you have to fire the oil. So oil consumption will increase. So it has come down because downtime has come down. Reduced boiler outlet due to reduction in clinker formation and more MDO generation due to reduction in fouling and cleaning time. This is the beauty of this particular additive. These are the advantages which we are getting since more than 20 years. Now next step. Fuel additive can improve the efficiency by 2 to 5%. Beyond that is a limitation. So now what is next? Let us something differently. Your existing power plants, they are subcritical. That is, they are operate at a pressure less than the critical pressure of water. So this is the range of pressure, this is the range of temperature, and this is MIT efficiency is 34.3% of all subcritical boilers across the world. Believe me, our UKAI slightly surpasses MIT efficiency instead of plant being more than 40 years old. That's the beauty, how beautifully the plant is operated by the operators. Moment you go to the supercritical, these are critical point, 22.1 megapascal pressure at 374.1 degrees centigrade. Moment we enter into supercritical region, pressure is 27 megapascal, temperature 593, and efficiency is 38.5%. If I enter into ultra supercritical, pressure is 31.72, temperature 604 degrees centigrade, and efficiency is 43.3%. Right? So from 34 we can raise to 10% by going to ultra supercritical. This is a benchmark. And what is our current research goal? 36.5 megapascals and 704 degrees centigrade. This is a current goal. So now, if I take this is a diagram taken from Kinan. We have made these all points has been made by us. The Taha has put all these points on this particular graph, that is TS diagram. Now look here first, this diagram. If we increase the source temperature, then as per your Carnot, W by Q1, Q1 minus Q2 by Q1, so 1 minus T2 by T1. T2 you cannot change because it is atmosphere, so it is a sink. But T1 is under your control. Moment you enter into T1, increase T1, we are getting more and more efficiency. So this is my subcritical line, 22.06, and we are getting 34.3%. Then this is my supercritical, 27 megapascal, 593, 38.5. And then this is my ultra supercritical, 31.72, 604, and 43.3%. And this is the latest, 36.5, 704 degrees centigrade, so greater than 50%. That means now we have to switch from subcritical to supercritical or ultracritical or super ultracritical to achieve higher efficiency from the boiler. Now, boiler even still uses the coal as a fuel. Coal has the same problems when you pulverize it. So how to manage emissions? So now our target is towards combined management of energy and emissions. What I do, incorporate coal gasifier. What coal gasifier will do? It will gasify the coal. All ash and clinkers will come here and pure gas will be fired into the boiler. Moment we fire pure gas, the boiler efficiency will be definitely improved and associated problem will be minimized. So what will happen? There will be a reduction in stack loss. There will not be fly ash present, so no fly ash handling, so no particulate, minimum particulate, reduce CO2, much lower particulate emissions again, because there is no negligible, you can say, particles coming, only gas. Lower tube temperatures because the heat transfer surface will be much cleaner. Lower erosion rate because no particles, and because of that increased boiler oilability and life. So only thing we need to do is try to design a gasifier and incorporate here. So let us take, I will take you to some gasifier concepts. What is gasification? It is a thermochemical conversion of carbonaceous feedstock into gaseous fuel. So gasification is classified as clean energy technology. It improves overall conversion efficiency by 1 to 3%. It reduces particulate emissions by 50 to 80%. It reduces CO2 emissions by 10 to 30%. It enables to gain carbon credit for country like India. So my preliminary calculation shows that through the use of gasification, CO2 emission is reduced by 28.24%. This means that if I use 1 million tons of coal gasified, this will reduce 2.1824 million tons of CO2 emissions, and we will earn 2.1824 million carbon credit. That's the beauty of gasification. Now, what is the application? Is a very wide application. You can use gasifier for process heat requirement. All ceramic industries in Morbi, they use gasifiers. You can use in steel industries, glass furnaces. You can produce steam. All steam requirement of your pressure wet process unit, that is your textile, can be met through the use of gasifications. And you can produce power, either small scale, medium or large power plant, for improved efficiency with minimum emissions. Now, what is gasification? The term gasification covers the conversion of any carbonaceous fuel to a gaseous product with a usable heating value. And what it does, it converts the entire non-ash fraction of the feed to the gas. So this is my feed. There is a gasifier. I supply partial air. You will produce here the producer gas, this is a composition, and some char and ash will come out. That means this will not go to the boiler, so no erosion, nothing. And this gas you can use it for power generation. Now this gives a complete detail, some insight. This gasifier passes through the 4 stages. Is a drying, so your feedstock will get dried, temperature is 100 to 150. Then it will get pyrolyzed, that is in the absence of air, it will disintegrate into tar and char. So it is at 200 to 500 degrees centigrade. Then we supply partial air, so it will oxidize, so it will produce some heat at 800 to 1200. This charcoal then will enter into the reduction zone, where it will carry out a reduction reaction. So, and then finally you get your gas and your char, the gas. This is the set of reactions which take place in oxidation, and these are the set of reactions which take place in reduction. And what you get is carbon monoxide, hydrogen, dioxide, H2O, CH4, N2, and HHV is about 4.5 to 6 megajoules per normal meter cube. This is outcome. How many types are there? First type I call it a downdraft. That means your feed is fed from the top. Air is also given from here. It comes out and gas is taken out. That means flow is downward. So it is a downdraft. Second one is updraft. So air is fed upstream. Fuel is coming downstream and the gas is taken out from here. So there is upflow of gas. So it is updraft. And these are the zones which appear in the gasifier. Cross draft is I supply air from here and take out gas from opposite side. So it is a cross draft. These all are known as fixed bed gasifiers. Then advanced one, you pulverize the fuel and then supply to coal burner. So entire bed will move. You get from here the syngas, that is a producer gas, and from bottom you get a slag. These are the entrained bed gasifiers. They use in your Brayton cycle modern power plants. Then comes the fluidized bed. The moment you have a sulfur, you have to go for FBC to minimize the SO2 emission. So this is a fluidized bed. You can see here from syngas we take it out. The whatever is the material left out through cyclone is fed back to the bed. And this is my coal or biomass which is fed. Is still again advanced boiler is circulating fluidized bed gasifier. So here you can see a complete circulation takes place. This high pressure circulation takes place and your gas is taken out from the top. And this is the ash which is taken out. So this is circulating, and the most advanced is plasma. Moment you deal with high ash content coal or any waste or any industrial hazardous waste, you have to go for plasma gasifier. There is no other option with you. So this is the most advanced technology, and this also I will share with you in at a later stage. Now, well said for gasifier is a green technology, but when I was working at IIT Bombay on my gasification project, I encountered this problem, particulate emissions, the liquid tar. It was eroding all my valves, so engine used to be taken for shutdown very frequently. Then contaminated effluent, because we need to cool the gas by spraying the water, so that will produce effluent. Then there is a gas leakage and overall efficiency is quite poor. How to tackle this problem? This was my area of research from 1992 onward, after completing my PhD. My continuous thought process, what I learned is, conceptualize a zero discharge gasification system. TAR. How to minimize TAR? Capture in wet ESP, then vaporize or crack in a kiln, and then refire this in oxidation zone of gasifier. So your TAR will minimize. Contaminated effluent. Go for indirect cooling system. So your direct water spray that will reduce to about 5 to 10% only, no direct spray. And this is through series of coolers and condenser. Then that little effluent, this also you condense, you can condense this particular effluent and refire back into the oxygen and reduction zone. Gas leakage, incorporate water seal at appropriate place so there is no gas leakage. Incorporate SCADA. This is a system which will monitor the performance of gasifier, and if there is any deviation in the operating parameters, it will try to correct it. So it is an auto control system. I did not stop here. We modeled it. That can we do it because if you refire the effluent, probably your temperature levels will go down because it's a water. You are refiring. If you refire a tar, probably it will reduce temperature level. So first, believe me, anything you do, please do it scientifically. That means first make a model. In order to create a model, this is the data of coal, which is actually fired in a gasifier. This is a tar which is actually collected from a gasifier. So this is ultimate analysis. Then we form a model. So this is my coal, this is stoichiometry. This is my moisture in the coal. This is my ash. This is my tar, and this is my effluent. And I am supplying air. So what is the product? Carbon, CO, CO2, H2S, H2O, H2, H2Na is a product. Then thermodynamic modeling demands that you should go for constituent balance. So this is a total constituent balance, 5 equations, and then energy balance. Total energy in must be equal to total energy out. So that is it. And based on this, you will formulate your model and see what gas quality you get. So this is a gas quality. There are 3 types of model: heterogeneous. That means we consider the equilibrium of, you can say, the heterogeneous as well as the homogeneous mixture, that is a gas and solid. So that is heterogeneous. We consider only homogeneous, that is only gas phase equilibrium, and is a non-equilibrium model. All this model told me that your LHV is reasonably good. Your efficiency is improved to 80%. Now this gives me a confidence that if I refire my tar, if I refire my effluent, I am not going to get any detrimental effect, but we will improve the efficiency. With this confidence through mathematical modeling, I conceptualize the system. Say that is this a storage system. I have provided 2 double hopper systems so that particulate emissions are minimized. Then there is a gasifier. The gas which is coming out is taken first to the settler. So a heavy, hard, larger particle gets settled. Then it goes to the wet ESP. Here the tar gets collected. From here, this tar is collected. This tar is taken to the tar collection tank, and then it is refired back to here. This into this, you can say, effluent cum tar reformer. Similarly, this gas, which contains your effluent, your moisture and other things, it goes to series of condensers. So this condenses the effluent. This effluent goes to the effluent collection tank, and again I am refiring back here into this evaporator, and we produce the cracked gas. This cracked gas from here is taken back here, then it is refired into the oxidation zone. When I refire it, output is nearly zero, no discharge of tar, there is no particular emission, no discharge of effluent, and this gas goes to the kiln. This work was carried out at Morbi for ceramic industry. So I am putting a word kiln, but you can take it to any power producing device. Then this is a complete SCADA screen because system is on SCADA. So everything appears on the screen. What is the power consumption? What is the temperature? What is the pressure? What is the flow rate? Everything is appearing on the SCADA screen. So you can monitor from your computer what is going on in the system. And this is a 20 megawatt actual operation system at Morbi. Now this has a slight history. Say the owner, these are Effil Ceramics. they produce vitrified tiles. Now these vitrified tiles demand about 1250 degrees centigrade temperature. And normal gasifier cannot give that temperature. So he challenged me that Chanila Sahab, can you do it? I will take a risk to install your gasifier in my premises. I said we will do it. And believe me, this is the actual installation at Morbi FLC round, 20 megawatt system. It is not a small system. There is a gasifier, then there is a primary cooler, and always we are using a dual lock feeding system. Then there is a tar catcher. These are series of condensers, and there is a final settling temp, and there is a chilling plant and cooling tower. These are the fuels. There is a tar catcher, you got wet ESP, then there is a tar cracker, and there is a dual condensers. Again, another view, tar cracker, dual condensers, and the dual cooling tower. Another view, there is a chilling plant to cool the gas so that any moisture is left out, it gets condensed and a pure dry gas goes to the kiln. Earlier, whenever the gas goes to the kiln, it has a moisture, it has tar. So it will create a black and white spots on the tiles. So the net export quality of tile which they used to get was less than 15%. With this technology, Arvind Bhai confessed that, sir, we are now getting more than 60% of our tiles of export quality. So their production improved, their quality of production improved with this category of gasifier. Then I wanted to get satisfied by myself. What is the performance? This is actual gasifier installed. After that, we wanted to establish the performance. So we selected one small system that is a 6 megawatt and we carried out the performance and emission trials. This is a gas quality which we got. You see what is the efficiency? 75.745%. What theoretical was 80%, we could get 75.745% in reality. And this is a complete mass balance. What is the mass input? What is the moisture? Inherent moisture, biomass, steam, water, air. This is the 100%, about 1772.618 kg per hour is my input. What is the output? There is a water vapor, CO, CO2, H2, H2S, all, and this is the output. So this is a mass balance. This is absolutely necessary when you want to conduct a systematic trial. You must carry out a mass balance and energy balance studies. There may be 2 to 5% deviation, accept it. Then this is the energy. So this is energy from biomass, energy flow with steam, sensible energy of air, sensible with water. So this is the energy input. What is the output? With water vapor, sensible energy flow with gas, chemical energy flow, evaporation energy, chemical energy flow in tar, in steam, in water, in gas, and unaccounted loss. 6.4061%. So this is my energy balance. That means we are getting good mass balance as well as equally good energy balance. And another important one, ambient air quality. Because we are not emitting any particulates. Our emissions on particulate side will come slightly later. I will show you the quality. These are the results. They are much less than the national air quality standard limits. So we are happy with these results. Now the results I summarize here. This is the HHV and coal gas efficiency. Majority within prescribed limits, emissions, VOC negligible, and PM 2.5 and PM 10 are on higher side. What is PM 2.5? Is a 2.5 micron particles and 10 micron particles. Entire Morbi is a dusted city, so this is going to be on higher side. And discharge, no tar, no effluent, no gas. And D part, 1 million ton of coal gasified could reduce 2.1824 million tons of CO2 emissions and 2.1824 million carbon credit we cannot. So these are the results of my zero tar and effluent discharge technology. So this is a patent. This is a national patent as well as it is our international patent is also on the way. So I used to define it as this is a unique eco-friendly MSW biomass coal gasification technology developed which offers zero tar and effluent discharge, which in turn helps to protect soil and groundwater contamination and consequently biosystem and finally human health. Now we have signed an MOU with Guru Krupa MacTech who have developed this gasifier and is a patent on our name. Now this was appreciated across the nation. So my guide, Madam Parikh at IIT Bombay, then is a secretary MNRE and is a chair professor IIT Bombay of Environmental Engineering. This is our Subhash Bhai, that's honor, and Raju CU. We established a 0.5 megawatt experimental research facility at Morbi. This is the experimental research facility complete. Gasifier, there is a wet ESP, series of condensers, your settlers, and a flat stack. They visited to actually assess is it really zero discharge gasification technology, and they could certify that yes, it is 100% zero discharge technology. They visited Airfield Ceramic also and they were satisfied. And about that now, this personality is Dr. V.K. Saraswat. He is a principal scientific advisor to Government of India. He was a DRDO chief and presently he is a member in NITI Aayog. He was also so impressed that I would like to visit your plant because it is the first across the country and probably across the globe, I say, which is a system which offers zero tar and effluent discharge. So Dr. Saraswat visited Morbi and I was explaining him this research facility. You also visited Airfield and one more industry where this system is installed. Again, the same view. And this is from National Air Pollution Control Authority. So they also visited this particular system. Then the challenge comes now. Dr. Saraswat asked me, Chennaiwala, we have F-grade coal across the country, which is about 45 to 50% S. Can we gasify it? Can you develop a gasifier which can gasify such high S content coal? Then this challenge was taken up. So this is the graph. This is a production across the various years of various category of coals. And you see here, F-grade coal is more than 40, 50, 45% is the coal which is being produced in India, and all thermal power plants except NTPC plant, they use this particular coal. And the usable heating value is given by this expression. Hardly 3,500 kilocalories per kg, 3,500 kilocalories is the usable calorific value of this high-grade coal, highest content coal. So coal consumption, because of our increasing power demand, has grown from by 5.7%. 56% of primary energy comes from coal, and India is rich in coal resource. That's the fortunate part. F-grade coal, that is highest content coal, dominates the major power generation, which is responsible for your high particulate emissions and greenhouse effect. So what is solution? Solution lies in adoption of clean coal technology, CCTs we call it. And gasification is one of the CCTs which reduces both particulate emissions and greenhouse effect. Hence, one can focus on gasification of low rank, high S content coal. Now this is a challenge. So this challenge was accepted, and what we did. First thing always I do, what always I advise to all my students, that theoretically establish yourself first. Do not neglect the theories which you have learned. They form the foundation or the basis for any experimental one. So this is a coal, 45.94% S, and we modeled it, and this model has said me that you can see here, it can work. It can give a gas quality of the order of about 4,000 kilocalories per kg, per meter cube. So moment I was satisfied with this result, say, this is the result, 3790.53, your coal is about 3350 is the LHP. Once I was satisfied with this modeling result, then we conceptualized. What concept we got? we developed a hybrid gasifier. That means partially fluidized bed cum updraft type. Why partially fluidized? Because this coal is highest, so it is to be surrounded by the air. That means we have to partially lift it. So partially we lift it means it is partially fluidized bed cum updraft gasifier. And this is the dimensions. And this is the 3D view of entire gasifier. You can see what is the difference here. It is a feeding hopper. The difference lies here. High ash gasifier cell. And this is ash zone. Then we fired that particular. You can see these are actual gasifier. Ash zone height you can see. Ash zone height you can see. We use this coal into this gasifier. And we fired it. And this is the flame. That means actually we are in a position to gasify the coal and obtain a good quality flame, which is visible here. Again, next step was, first was modeling, second was development, third was now performance trials. So we took a performance trial on this gasifier and these are the results. The average CV which we could obtain is 4,500 kilojoule per meter cube, and these are the trial dates, May 18. What will be the next generation power plant? Coal, incorporate a gasifier, use super and ultra critical boiler, go for multi-stage high pressure turbine and generator power. This will give me an efficiency above 50 to 55% and emissions minimum particulate CO, SO2, NO. So this is the next generation one power plant. The second stage I will discuss slightly later. Then we have enormous waste. Either you take hospital waste, or you take industrial waste, or you take municipal solid waste. Can we harness this energy to produce power? Answer is yes. So first part which we targeted was hazardous waste and hospital waste means plasma gasifier. So this is my all hazardous waste. This is taken to a gasifier which I call is a plasma. Only plasma can solve this problem because whatever are the inerts, this hazardous industrial waste will generate dioxin and furans. These dioxin and furans are cancerous. The moment they are emitted in the atmosphere, and if you inhale it, cancer is going to be there over a period of time. So this dioxin and furan need to be killed. How to kill them? Only solution is you have to develop a temperature about 1250 degrees centigrade. Give a residence time of 2 seconds minimum, then only this will get destroyed. So plasma is the only technology which can do this. So it will destroy your dioxin and furan. Second part, whatever are the inerts, they will get melted. They will come out in the form of a slag. You take one mold, you produce either blocks or tiles from that. So it becomes again a zero discharge technology. So here is the waste. Go for incineration, that means simply burn it. Go for plasma, use the gas in firing the engine or power plant and produce power. Here you generate a steam and go to thermal power plant and go to power, and the slag you use it to produce your tiles or blocks. And this is the again 3D view of a plasma gasifier which was developed in 2006. Once a fluent analysis was carried out, again and again I said the only way to develop a realistic technology is to go theoretically. So first part theoretically we established, second now we are going for CFD. Once we CFD results were satisfactory, then we developed this gasifier. Plasma torch you can see, and this is the entire 3D of the power plant project. What is a silent feature? This technology is devised to treat and convert hazardous industrial waste to wealth through gasification. And this was jointly developed by SVNIT and ANPRO Surat. And came again a next generation, development of hybrid plasma gasification technology for MSW management, incorporating patented zero tar and effluent discharge classification technology. Yeah. If you don't mind, I will take a 10 to 15-minute break for my prayers of Friday. Right? Hello, am I audible to all?
Sir, no problem.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
Dear
Jani,
participant,
I will take a
if
15-minute break
as per
for
sir's
offering
suggestion,
my prayer.
we have declared the
Okay.
time interval for 15 minutes till sir will remaining to rejoin the lecture. I requested all the participants to be stay in the meeting, and as sir will return after a few minutes, again we will have to start. Thank you, sir. Participant, we have the break of 10 minutes till sir will remain. So be stay in the meeting.
Hello.
Yes, good afternoon, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, we have the break for the 10-15 minutes. Once sir is resumed, again we may have to start the session.
Okay, sir.
Yes, yes, Manjunath, sir will speak. I allow you. Yes, Manjunath, sir, please speak. Your microphone is allowed. Unmute yourself and ask question as you raise.
Sir. Nothing, sir. Continue, sir.
Okay. Myself not as lecturer is Dr. S. A. Channawala sir is there. Intermediate some 5-10 minutes break is there. And again we may have to continue within the few minutes as the sir will return. Probably maybe 2-3 minutes time.
So I am ready. Jani, hello. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible, and now you are requested
My
again to do the same, sir.
slide is visible.
Visible, sir. Full form
Okay.
PPT is available, and your voice is also audible, sir.
Okay. So can we start now again?
Okay, we
Hello?
continue. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
We may continue now.
Okay, I will now start. Right. Okay. So now next thing what we thought was that enormous waste is available in the country. If I give some statistical data, maybe I will give you here itself, that if we continue to produce our MSW at this rate, in 2030, 1/3 land of the India will be covered by heaps of this MSW. That means we need to do something in this direction. So taking this part in my view, we started development of this hybrid plasma gasification technology for MSW management. But this is not restricted only to MSW. When you go for plasma, you can use any waste, industrial waste, or even highest content coal, anything you can use it. And this we are incorporating with our zero tar and effluent discharge gasification technology. So the first part, what is the objective? To model and design a small-scale hybrid plasma gasifier to manage 100 kg per hour MSW. This is the project of my Bhatnagar fellowship. They always say that your technology must be applicable to the society and beneficial to the society. So this was my first objective. To develop hybrid plasma gasifier for MSW management, which is an integration of updraft gasifier with plasma torch for inerts, and to carry out extensive experimental investigation to prove the worthiness of the concept. These are the objectives of my Bhatnagar Fellowship project. So what we did, again same thing, first you go for theoretical studies and modeling, then you concept, and then actual development, and then performance. So this is my input data. MSW 100 kg per hour. Organic in the MSW is your all vegetable waste and house waste, food waste is 50 kg per hour. Inorganic 50 kg per hour is the present. This is the component which is our target. This is the composition. This is a moisture, fixed carbon, volatile S and HHV, and this is my ultimate analysis. So with this data, we wanted to go. We first went for energy balance because plasma technology is regarded as the most expensive technology, and normally it is energy negative technology. That means whatever energy we give in is more than whatever energy output we get it. So first thing is we have to challenge this part. So I carried out the energy balance. This is my input energy, 50 kg per hour. This is a calorific value by 3600. So this is my E dot in, 196.625 kilowatt. What is the output? If I connect it in the gasifier, its efficiency is only 55% I have taken because a lot of inerts are there. And so output energy is this into this, that is 108.14 kilowatt is the output energy in the producer gas, which I get out of my plasma gasifier. And what is the power produced? This gas will go to the genset. So eta genset will come into the picture. I have taken only 20% efficiency. So output is 21.628 kilowatt. What is the plasma energy requirement? You have m dot s into CPS into delta T. So sensible energy required to bring S to its melting temperature, then S into the latent heat, right? Plus your moment it becomes liquid, you have to heat it to a desired temperature. So m dot S into Cp of liquid, S into delta T. So here, this is my m dot S which we produce because 18.84% is the S in the material, 50 kg per hour is the feed rate, 0.84 Cp into delta T is 600 plus 500 into L is the latent heat, and then this is my latent heat, or sorry, sensible heat for molten S. So I need plasma energy is 4.59 kilowatt. Actual plasma comes from the torch, so it is output required by torch efficiency. I am taking only 60%. So 7.65 kilowatt is the plasma power required. This means that the net power output is genset output minus plasma input power. So 21.628 here minus 7.6, that means 30.98 is my net power output. This means that the proposed system is energy positive. Moment you prove that your system is energy positive, then only you take one step ahead. So we have proved it. Now, this is a conceptual. Again, I said you have to first develop concept. What concept I should use? Let us take a municipal solid waste, make it into a briquette. Otherwise, bulk density of MSW is very less. So you increase the bulk density by briquetting it. Otherwise, your size of the gasifier will become much larger. So moment you convert to briquette, it will be within your tolerable limit. So this is my unit 1. What is unit 2? This is fed to zero tar and effluent discharge gasification technology system. It will produce S and it will produce gas. This gas you take it for power generation. While it is S, you take it to plasma torch, plasma gasifier, and whatever is the molten coming out, you make a power block machine, you make a blocks or tiles, whatever you want. So this becomes my unit 3. But this is how the entire system is conceptualized. Then this is my unit 1. Say MSW or coal, it comes from here, it comes to the hopper, and then it is fed to this screw where you get a briquette. It's a briquetting machine. So this is the conceptual unit 1. Then this is my unit 2. This is a cold storage or a MSW storage. Same entire gasifier. This is a zero tar and effluent discharge system which we have developed and it has been explained to you. So this becomes my unit 2. What is unit 2? This S is fed to the plasma gasifier. So this will melt all this particular S and you can have a liquid. This liquid can be molded to a desired shape. You can see and I have taken only paver blocks. And even if whatever gas is produced here, this gas you can use it for your power generation. What is the third unit? And this is a complete schematic. The proposed plasma gasification system for MSW management incorporating patented zero tar and effluent discharge gasification technology. So this is my gasifier. This is my plasma zone, and here is coming out your liquid. So it is a power block. And this gas from here is getting cleaned here, and finally clean gas to the utility. So this is the entire system, and I call it as a truly zero pollution technology. Even no solid is being produced here, only useful solid is produced. So my next generation, there is a future power plant will look like this way. Say there is a plasma. Whatever gas we produce from here, it goes to the common header where air is supplied, and this is fired into HRSG, heat recovery steam generator, which will produce steam. This will go to the turbine, produce power. Steam will come to condenser. Again, it goes to the feed pump and circuit repeats. So this is a layout, and from here, whatever is the ash, it is getting melted, and we produce a power. So this becomes my conceptual future plasma technology based power plant, right? So my conclusions of part 2. Part 3 is on west to west project. We'll see later on. That first conventional power. We have established facility more than 3 lakh is the power generation capacity of Indian power plants. So first we have to tackle conventional thermal power plants. So go for regular energy audit. It will give the areas where you can improve the efficiency. Adopt suitable water treatment so as to minimize water side scaling and resultant maintenance. So this will improve your heat transfer efficiency. Keep heat transfer surfaces clean, optimize soot blower frequencies. This will improve your again heat transfer efficiency. And this is very important. Use correct mill settings so as to minimize both S losses in fly ash and bottom ash, and also the maintenance of the mills. Now this is a practical aspect. You have to go for mill setting. The distance between two bowls of the mill are very critically set so that you get a correct quality of pulverized coal, which will give you the minimum bottom ash, unburnt in bottom ash. Then incorporate appropriate fuel additive. This will help in catalytic combustion, minimize fouling and clinkering, and reduce emissions, and thus help in energy and emission management, along with offering longer availability of boiler. So this is what we can do with conventional power plant. Then next is think for gasification. It is a versatile green energy technology, may be adopted to meet process heat steam requirements, small, medium, and mega power plants. This second part. So next generation thermal power plant will be, the next generation will be with adoption of stringent management of energy and emission through super and ultra critical boilers and zero effluent discharge gasification technology. This will offer overall efficiency above 50%. All thermal power plants in the world, they operate at 34.3% at present. More than 98% of power plants, they operate 34.8%. Now we can go above 50%. The particulate emission can reduce by 80%. CO2 will reduce by 30%. That means your global warming potential will decrease. It will increase plant availability and life and earn carbon credits for a country like India. This is my, and the part C. Plasma gasification based power plants can generate power from any waste, oblique coal, along with producing useful products like blocks, tiles, etc., and thus truly offers 100% clean energy system. Our target in totality is to have a clean energy system. That only can be a sustainable technology, or I call it as a green energy solutions. Then this part I have added specifically for you all. West to Well projects, a sustainable energy, green energy solution, revolution I call. If you analyze the data source-wise and state-wise estimated potential of renewable power in India, its total is more than 10.96 lakhs kWh, megawatts, which is 3 times more than the installed capacity today in the country. This is all India average, right? So I am focusing what we are focusing only a very small part, this waste to energy. At present, we can focus on all, but I am limiting to you for this particular presentation only waste to this part, waste to energy, waste to wealth. Now here is the motivation. If you take a livestock and poultry population in India, this is a sketch distribution. Poultry 729.21 and cattle 190.9, buffalo 108.7. So this is the population. This is recorded by 2012. The latest data we could not search, but these are 2012 data. And if I summarize this, we have a total livestock greater than 500 millions. Total poultry greater than 700 millions. Estimated manure generation is greater than 5,000 million kg per day, which can be converted to bioorganic fertilizer, which is a need of today, because your chemical fertilizers and pesticide will create your cancer. And second phase of my life after retirement is dedicated for the welfare of human being and the society. So I have changed my direction towards development of bioorganic fertilizers and the bio-CNG projects. We'll share it. Estimated biogas generation greater than 150 million meter cube per day, and estimated electricity generation greater than 6 million kilowatt. This is a motivation. So first thing which was done by me was in 2002 for Surat Municipal Corporation at Anjana sewage treatment plant. So there is a sewage coming here. This sewage we have taken to the biogas plant. We modified the digester to produce the gas from this low energy sewage. And whatever biogas we produce, we have first taken it into genset to produce power. It can go to catalytic conversion to produce methanol, or you can bottle it to produce your bio-CNG bottles. The slurry can be used as a fertilizer, or it can be used as a cake, energy cake. This is the concept. Then this was developed for Surat Municipal Corporation. It was first of its kind in India. This was at Anjana sewage treatment plant of Surat Municipal Corporation. Its capacity is 0.5 megawatt, and it generates power from sewage gas from the process of anaerobic digestion. So all these digesters, they were a part of effluent treatment plant. I modified it to produce good quality methane. This methane was taken, it was clean, and the clean gas was stored into biogas holder. And then this biogas holder, from here we took it to this particular 0.500 kilowatt Spain-made Guascar generator. It was the first generator coming to India, so we went to Spain to test this generator. And Spain, Guascar has a very good test facility. They can simulate any gas. So composition of our gas I supplied to them. We produced that simulated gas and we run the engine and tested it for full capacity of 500 kilowatt. Once this was tested, then only I permitted them to export to Surat. Components, these are suction blower, scrubbing system, holder, and this is my engine. And there is a flash pump. In case engine is under maintenance, the gas generation will continue, so it needs to be flared. So this is a flash sack, right? This is a flash sack, this one. And this is the interesting data. 2002 we established Anjana, and it is working till today successfully. I use the word till more than 20 years this plant is working successfully. What is the important? It produces 19.46 lakh kWh per year of electricity. Inspired from this success, today 8 such projects are available. These are data of 3 more, Karan, Singanpur and Bata. This is the power generation to these projects. So this is the wealth which we have created from the West. And vegetable waste based biogas plant was taken up for our APMC market Surat. This waste goes to biogas plant. we produce biogas. This biogas can produce power, produce methanol, and go for bio-CNG bottle. At this project, we are producing bio-CNG bottle as well as slurry as a fertilizer. Capacity is 35 tons per day of waste vegetable, and biogas generation is 5,000 meter cube per day. These are the 3 digesters. These are some internal details of the digesters. This is the photographic view. These are the 3 digesters. This is a feeding platform. 3 digester, the gas storage balloon, and Swamiji had come to visit this plant, ISKCON. They also want to adopt such technology, so they visited us and they are thinking to go for this. So this is my APMC based power plant. Then we worked on a more advanced product that is a 2,200 kg per day bio-CNG, which is called as compressed biogas plant at Dungra Kamlej. What was the objective which was set? This was submitted to MNRE for grant to produce 5,000 meter cube per day raw biogas, 2,200 kg per day of bio-CNG. After purification, biogas has got methane and CO2 and H2S. So CO2 and H2S are removed, so we get net 2,200 kg to produce 20 metric ton per day of solid organic fertilizer, to produce 70,000 liters per day of liquid fertilizer. What is the feedstock we targeted? Gobar, chicken droppings, vegetable waste, food waste in general. This was a feedstock. And what is specific data? 3,200 metric ton per year of food, vegetable waste, agro waste, while 13,200 metric ton per year animal waste, that is your cow dung and all. Complete plant layout, there are 3 digesters, 1 storage, there is a cleaning system, there is a mixing plant, and this is office. Again, some details of the digester. These are different kind of digesters. The digester design will vary from substrate, that is a feedstock to feedstock. So these are different kind of design. These are the visuals. There is entrance, there is office building, there is a control and SCADA panel, and there is a laboratory. This was first developed in order to determine the correct feedstock, which will give me good quality of gas and good quality of fertilizer. Again, the feeding system, the digesters, purification system, and this is a filling station. These caskets are supplied to a bio-CNG plant of IOCL. We have signed an MOU with IOCL. Whatever gas we produce, they will purchase it from us. This is the bird eye view. The name of this organization is a Glow Green Biotech. This land belongs to diamond industrialists. They wanted to give something back to the society, and they came to me in 2017. I suggested that we can think of this category of project where we can produce CNG also, plus we'll produce the most useful fertilizer. They agreed to this, and this project is now in existence. There are 2 digesters, 1 and 2. There's a ghost storage balloon. This is a purification system. This is my laboratory. This is a feeding system, and this is the office. Now, the fertilizers which we produced, we supplied to the field, and these are the few testimonials. These are Raju. He came to our plant on 27 March, and what he writes. Sir, it's an exciting moment to share with you that my daughter just added 10 to 20 ml of your agri product in 1 bucket of water and pour that water to all plants in my house, in which a miracle occurred that a flower pot bearing a bell and people plant, not watered for more than 2 months and were in complete dry state, was covered with full greenery within 4 to 5 days. A miracle. Hats off to you, sir. This is the greatest certificate and satisfaction for me, because I have decided my mission of life of second phase to develop this category of fertilizers and serve to human being. And this is the enlarged view. Second came by from Mr. Dhananjay, who is an agriculture officer in Maharashtra. What he writes: this miracle happened after use of our growing liquid tonic. Crop of curry patta was totally dry but got green in 3 to 4 days and new suits occurred. Again, a certificate from an agricultural officer, it speaks a lot for me. And this is a broccoli, Sanjay Bore. At present, we have about, maybe say you can say, more than 600 farmers, more than 2,000 acres of land is converted to organic, and almost all crops. This has given the wonderful results. Then we want one step ahead. We wanted to export this. And the moment you want to export this, you have to get this certified that it is 100% residue free. And in the country, the only lab is the Nasik Horticulture Lab. That is the pesticide and residue analysis laboratory at Nasik. They tested our fertilizer for 260, you can see, 3 residues, and certified that it is 100% residue free. That means use of this fertilizer will not produce any harmful fruit, vegetables or crops. That is the greatest certificate which we have achieved. And this is the latest field results of solar sterilized liquid fertilizer. We sterilize in solar using solar energy. So these are the field results, and you can see here, this is a watermelon. You can see the red color, and the sweetness of this is tremendous. And this is Daniel. 2 only. I have given more than 60, 70 videos are there with me, but I'm putting only photographs of 1 or 2 things. What is conclusion of part 3? Waste to Well project is an upcoming field in the era of green energy revolution. And then now we go for overall conclusions. The present level of energy consumption and alarming emission level warrants for the search of technological pathways towards sustainable green energy solutions, which are feasible and easily adaptable to existing technologies. Second, a coal-based thermal power plant incorporating gasifier and supercritical boiler is a feasible technological pathway towards sustainable green energy solutions. The third part, plasma gasification based power plants can generate power from any waste oblique coal, along with producing useful products like blocks, tiles, etc., and thus truly offers 100% clean energy systems. And fourth is a bio-CNG is an upcoming era of waste to well projects offering green energy solutions along with organic biofertilizer to improve soil and crop quality, leading to better human health. So let's all work together for a better tomorrow. When we leave this world, we should offer an environment for our kids or children for better tomorrow. I must acknowledge GEC Dahod, organizers of FTB, that is your Jani and all, Saurabh and his team who has specifically requested me, Guru Kupa for that gasifier, Glow Green, that is a Dungra project, Handflow for plasma, my students Taha Pat and Pat Patel, my staff Mines and Sagar, my staff late Hitesh who has just passed away, late morning, and you all. This is the team which has always been with me, or I can say they are my backbone. And finally, anywhere I go, I definitely give this message. Whether it is an international conference, SAE at Detroit, America, or Britain, anywhere. We have to be socially responsible human beings. This means if we want to have luxury of 1 fridge and 1 AC in our house, we must grow 2 trees to maintain ecological balance. If we want to have luxury of 4-wheeler, we must grow 4 trees to maintain ecological balance. Thank you all for patiently hearing me. And if any questions, I am available with you.
I requested participants to provide any question, feedback to the sir, so that you can get idea about the different green power technology from sir. Any participants having any question? Or either way, you can write it to the chat box so that we can read and provide you the answer from the sir.
It is.
Jani sir, it is a persuasive speech by the sir. It is a simple and a very deliberate speech. So we are easy to grasp everything. I think it's a very
Okay.
noble speech by the sir. So there is no question from my side. And I thank all of you that you arrange this Chaniwala sir's lecture. Every time we enjoy his speech. So thanks to all of you for that.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for patiently hearing me. Thanks you all. Again, I will say, please keep working for betterment of the society. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Today, behalf of the organizing committee from Government Engineering College, Dahod, I will thankful to the sir for providing his valuable guideline over to the green power technology. Because in the recent year, as sir mentioned earlier, with the gasification, you can exactly save the carbon credit to the environment or can reduce it by the 28.4%. That is around most of 1/3 of the saving of carbon credit to the environment. So in coming future, this technology may be very beneficial to control the global warming phenomena over to the earth. So in an excellent way, sir, deliver it, and all the participants get benefited with regarding to the today's discussed excellent session. Thank you, sir, for providing your valuable time and effort for educating all of us, sir.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I am always for the student. I am basically a teacher here. So I am always available to my students. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right. I think should I close it now?
Principal sir, Rambhat sir, so that he will again made certain elaboration to my vote of thanks.
नमस्ते सर.
Okay. नमस्ते नमस्ते.
ठीक है.
बोल बेटा. Hello.
हाँ सर. सर इज माय गुरु.
તું દાહોદમાં છે ભાઈ?
અહીંયા દાહોદમાં છું સર, આપણે પ્રિન્સિપલ. હેલો.
अच्छा, ग्रेट ग्रेट. बोल बोल.
सर का जो जीवन है वो समाज के लिए एग्जाम्पल रूप है. एंड सम पर्सन्स आर सिंपली ग्रेट. ही इज वन ऑफ देम. और हम सब जो जहाँ पहुंचे, जो मुकाम हमने हासिल किया है, वो सर के ब्लेसिंग्स और सर को ही हम इमिटेट करते हैं. उनकी लाइफ है समाज के लिए एक एग्जाम्पल रूप है. और सर ही हमारे एक क्या कहते हैं, भगवान है, प्रभु है. प्रभु हमने देखे नहीं, लेकिन चन्नी वाले सर के रूप में हमने भगवान को देखा है कि जो रियल टीचर होता है समाज में, नॉवेल्टी कौन है, कैसे ऐड कर सकते हैं, हाउ वी कैन मेक अवर टीचिंग इंटरेस्टिंग, और बाय यूटिलाइजिंग नोवल अप्रोचेस, नोवल मेथड्स. तो वो सब सर के पास है. उनके पास एक ज्ञान का बहुत बड़ा खजाना, एक दरिया है. इज अ नॉलेज ऑफ सी. तो सर अभी तक भी आफ्टर रिटायरमेंट ऑल्सो भी सर समाज के लिए, सोसाइटी के लिए, देश के लिए ये सब करते हैं. इसलिए हम ये एक बहुत जोरदार योगदान है, कंट्रीब्यूशन है. तो ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ गवर्नमेंट कॉलेज दाहोद सर, आई एम एक्सट्रीमली थैंकफुल टू यू सर. आपने वैल्यूएबल टाइम निकाला, तो इसलिए. और सर प्लीज डू कम हियर एंड अहमदाबाद ऑल्सो. फैमिली के साथ आप जरूर आइए सर.
Thank you for your invitation, for very good words by you. I am a simple teacher, nothing else. A simple teacher, right, Brahmabhat? Okay, go. Fine. Thank you very much for such a.
Thank you, sir.
You can say good words.
Sir.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you for joining with us today and enlightening us with the great knowledge, sir.
Fine. All right. Thank you. So should I close the screen now?
Recording.
डेटा बुक डाले थे
Participants were requested to come back again at 3 o'clock for the valedictory session. It may be hardly about 20-30 minutes, and later on we may have decide about the timing and all about the test for today. So I request all of you to come back again in the meeting at exactly 3 o'clock so that we can resume our valedictory function as early as possible. So now I request my colleague Bhatt sir and Nilesh Seth sir to complete this meeting, and also request participant to provide the your valuable feedback for the session of Channiwala sir. Thank you, friends.
Okay, friends, now the session is open for submitting the feedback of the current session of Dr. S.H. Channiwala, and I will now close the recording session. Is going on. You can rejoin the meeting at 3 p.m. for valedictory session. Thank you, participants.